You know, we all have them. These brilliant ideas, these little flashes of inspiration that pop into our heads. But let's be honest, how many of them ever actually see the light of day? Most of them just get stuck. So today, we're going to break down exactly how to take one simple thought and make it a real, tangible thing. It all starts with one crucial question.
Right here. This is the question that changes everything. It's not about finding the biggest, the best, or the most revolutionary idea in your head. It's about asking, which one can I actually bring to life today? That simple shift in focus, it's incredibly powerful.
And this right here gets to the absolute core of the issue. Getting inspired is the easy part, right? The real challenge, the place where most amazing ideas just fade away, is in the embodiment. That just means taking that little spark from your mind and giving it some shape, some weight, some actual form in the real world.
And I'm sure these roadblocks feel super familiar. You know how it goes. Sometimes the idea just feels way too big. You don't even know where to start. Other times, the block is totally internal. It's our own assumptions, our own fears, or that classic paralysis of just overthinking everything. The problem is never a lack of ideas, it's the barriers we put in their way.
Okay, so to get past these roadblocks, we have to start by tackling a core belief. Let's talk about what we think innovation is, because, honestly, our definition might be the very first thing that's holding us back.
So when we hear the word innovation, this is usually what our mind jumps to, right? Something totally groundbreaking, world-changing, some big invention. And wow, that is an intimidating standard. It can make our own smaller ideas feel, well, pretty insignificant in comparison.
But what if we just change the definition? What if innovation is simply this, turning one single thought into one single action that creates something real? That's it. It's not about changing the entire world in a day, it's about taking one thought, making one decision, and taking one action. Suddenly, innovation feels, well, it feels accessible to all of us, right now, today.
Okay, so if innovation really just starts with one simple action, how do we get ourselves to actually take it? Well, it all begins with the inner game, the way we process our own thoughts and our own internal instructions.
This is such a fascinating concept from Hebrew. The word Shema, it doesn't just mean to passively listen with your ears. It means to hear in a way that demands action. To truly hear something is to act on it. Just think about that for a second. What's an idea that you've been hearing in your own head, but you haven't really truly acted on it yet?
And this quote just brilliantly illustrates how that action begins. See, transformation isn't about conforming to some kind of external pressure. It comes from an internal shift, from a renewing of your mind. So the big question is, how do we actually do that?
It's an active process. It's not passive at all. To create something new in your life, you've got to let go of something old. This could mean challenging a presumption you've held forever, or removing an assumption that's totally limiting you, or just consciously deciding to exchange an old, unhelpful belief for a new, empowering one. That's where real change kicks off.
So once that internal shift starts happening, you need an external framework to guide your action. This is the outer game, and it's a simple but really powerful map called the what principle.
This is so clear and so powerful. It all starts with W, your why, your purpose. If you know your why, you can figure out almost any how. Then comes H, the how, which is your strategy, and it has to flow directly from that purpose. Then comes the big one, A, for action. This is the leap. You have to stop planning and start doing. And finally, T is transformation, which isn't some single event, but it's the result of consistent, repeated action over time.
All right, so you've got the inner mindset, you've got the outer framework. But there is one final, often invisible hurdle that trips so many of us up. And the solution? It's probably not what you'd expect.
Just think about it for a second. How often do you criticize yourself for not starting sooner or for not doing something perfectly the first time? That vicious cycle of guilt and delay, it's fueled by self-condemnation, and it is one of the most powerful forces that kills great ideas before they even get a chance to breathe.
Here's a great way to think about it. On a team, we often see the weakest link as someone to blame or condemn, right? But a much healthier view is to see that person as a mirror, reflecting something the entire team needs to work on and grow in. Condemnation just breaks unity. Understanding actually builds it.
Now, turn that mirror inward. When you condemn a part of yourself,
the part that procrastinates or the part that's afraid. You are literally breaking your own internal unity. You're creating a conflict inside of yourself that makes it almost impossible to move forward with any kind of alignment and purpose.
So what's the solution? Kindness. Seriously. Love is the bond of unity, and that absolutely applies to yourself too. When you replace that self-condemnation with self-kindness, even if it's just by tackling one tiny, achievable task, you start to repair that internal unity and build the alignment you need to really move forward.
And that brings us right back to where we started. This whole journey, from renewing your mind to taking action, it's not about juggling a dozen brilliant ideas at once. Real, lasting transformation comes from choosing one idea, hearing it fully, and then acting on it. It's about obedience to that single, actionable impulse.
So the question is exactly the same as it was in the beginning, but now, hopefully, it carries a lot more weight. Knowing all of this, what is the one idea, the one action that you will choose to embody? What will you realize today?